G'day Bodgies and Wedgies, and welcome back to the channel. So today we're actually going to be doing a full update on my nano 40 litre Reef aquarium. It's actually been 6 months since this aquarium was set up and a lot has changed. Primarily the positioning of where the rack is. It's now on the other side of the room, giving me tons of space to be able to film this aquarium along with all the other projects that I do on this aquarium rack. But importantly, this aquarium has really become one of my favourite tanks that I currently have, probably surpassing the 5-foot tank, and it's doing so well. It looks absolutely amazing. But a lot of things have changed after this update video comes out as well, because I've had a lot of new corals, lots of new additions and things I'm testing and reviewing and that kind of thing on this tank. So tons of videos to come out, so make sure you stay tuned. But before we get into this update, as always, let's acknowledge the traditional custodians of the land I'm filming on, the land that you're watching this video on, and the amazing people who are currently managing our land as well, like our councils, our frontline workers, everyone amazing like that. A huge thank you to them and a massive thank you to you for watching this video. But I say enough talking and let's have a look at my nano 40 litre Reef. So 6 months into this Reef tank and I'm just looking at its peak. I'm honestly regretting not setting this up sooner because I just love everything about this aquarium and about the saltwater hobby. The main thing you'll notice from the last update I did about 2 months ago is that the Reef tank looks completely different, and I actually did end up changing the Rockscape and start to take this aquarium a lot more seriously rather than it just being a beginner budget reef tank. With the Rockscape previously, it took up quite a fair bit of space. However, after repositioning it up a little bit, I now moved all the rock in the aquarium and the corals to the left hand side. And this kind of created a cave style drop off aquascape without me even realizing. And it now allows for flow of water to get right behind and under the rock, which was a problem in the last scape. And speaking of corals, I have a pretty decent assortment, all ranging from soft all the way to stony corals. And let's have a look at them all. So from the top is my Euphilia garden, and this is easily my favorite part of the aquarium. Here I have an assortment of hammer corals and a single Divisia frog spawn, but with the hammers they range in colors from a bright neon yellow, a mottled green and purple, a reverse purple and green, a dark purple, and finally that massive green frog spawn Divisia that I was talking about. But I now aim to fill that entire top shelf with just different types of Euphilia colors, because I just love that wavy and colorful contrasting look that they have. But if we run down that rock, we then have some of my miscellaneous corals, being 2 heads of Blastomusa, a fluffy morph, an orange spotted morph with like a blue base. Finally, I have my 2 Galaxia Corals, and these have an amazing story behind them. So earlier this year, prior to the COVID-19 lockdowns, in March I went down to the Melbourne University to meet up with Dr. Wing Chen, who's an amazing marine scientist. Now Dr. Wing is actually experimenting on the zooxanthellae within corals, and that's basically the microscopic algae which lives within their polyps, and it's responsible for giving the corals the amazing colours that they have, as well as allowing them to photosynthesize and take light energy to create it into energy they can use for consumption and growth. But this zooxanthellae is quite sensitive, primarily to water conditions and temperature, which is why with global warming, we're seeing a lot of the world's corals in the reefs actually bleach, meaning they get rid of the zooxanthellae, meaning that they can't actually produce any more food and end up dying. But Dr. Wing is actually genetically modifying zooxanthellae in order to make them more temperature resistant, and that's exactly what these Galaxia corals are. She actually gifted to me these from her lab, and these Galaxias actually have zooxanthellae which are able to withstand up to 30 degrees, which is absolutely amazing. Now, though I'll never take my reef tank up to that temperature to test it out, she's done extensive testing of this coral, and it's just amazing to be able to keep corals like this, because for the world it's doing an amazing job, but for beginners as well who are getting into the world of keeping corals and saltwater tanks, this could actually be a pretty good business venture. Genetically modified, resilient corals, which is just really great to hear. The final coral in this aquarium is my favourite, being my Elegance Curl. This coral is the main reason I fell in love with saltwater aquariums in the first place, because it's this big, wonderful, wavy coral that looks exactly like an anemone. But I'd go as far as saying that this is the showpiece coral in my aquarium, which is why it's sort of front and center, and I just love this thing. But in terms of fish in this aquarium, it's actually really light. I have a single clownfish in this aquarium and haven't really added another clown since the last one jumped out and left this guy alone. However, now that I have the lid situation sorted, it's tight fitting, no real gaps, I am actually considering to add possibly another clownfish or just some other saltwater fish to this aquarium. Okay, so the next big change which happened is equipment. I did a full, complete overhaul of the equipment that I'm using to run this tank. Previously, the filtration was an AquaClear 110, but I ended up changing that out to a Untitled 75, and it's an amazing decision that I made because this filter is an absolute powerhouse. I'll have a full review video of it coming soon, but it's just completely powerful, silent, it's got tons of awesome little features, and it's just a great piece of filtration, which I'm proud to say almost that I'm having running this aquarium. Secondly has been a change in lighting. I was using the Dymax SpaceX Marine light. However, now I'm running the Asta Low Mini 20. Now these are really great budget marine lights, and they're actually bought on Amazon for about $50 each Australian, and I'm pretty sure that price runs worldwide. So it's just a great and effective marine light for those who are not looking to spend too much money, but it also does the job really well, which was the biggest surprise for me. So yeah, can definitely recommend this, and I'll have a review coming out on both of these equipments very soon. Thirdly, there was a protein skimmer in this aquarium. That was an ocean-free, air-driven protein skimmer. I ended up removing that one actually because it wasn't really doing much of a useful effect. Secondly, when the tidal came in, there wasn't enough space. The protein skimmer itself was big, clunky, ugly, and yeah, it just had to go. So took that one out, and I honestly don't really see any difference in the overall colors or growth of coral. If anything, I'd say there's probably been a bit more of an improvement, but that could just be the new Tidal 75. Along with that, I have also started dosing my corals with supplements. So to run through the nutrients with this aquarium, I've got a fair few decent amount of LPS, as you would have seen, and with that they are actually using calcium and alkalinity to grow their sort of small body skeletons, and with that I actually had to get a supplement for that. So this is the Continuum brand Reef Sculpture Part A and Part B. It's a two-part dosing system where you just add this to the aquarium about 3 to 4 times a week, and it does an amazing job at maintaining those levels where it's optimal for corals to grow. And I've only started to dose this very recently, so I don't really see any visual sort of changes yet, but the levels are staying where it's meant to be. I'm not seeing those fluctuations which were happening when I was testing. Also, when I moved this aquarium, I was concerned about any bacterial resets which may happen because I did end up taking all the rock out. I did keep it wet with some aeration, but I was concerned that the cycle may be affected, which is why I did get the Continuum Bacter Gen M. This is a bacterial supplement, and I am a big advocate for these bacteria in the bottles. This one specifically because it is a cloudy mixture. It actually has small bits and stuff floating around in it, so you can actually visually see that there's something going into the tank when you're adding it in. And I haven't noticed any fluctuations which I've had in my nitrites or nitrates or any ammonia or phosphates as well, so I know that it's actually doing something. Finally, for the micronutrients for the corals, I have ended up getting the Aquaforest components A, B, and C. These are all micronutrients like amino acids, heavy metals, and that kind of thing, which your corals need for their colors, their growth. And this one, after I started dosing this, which was the first sort of supplement that I added to this aquarium, there was a huge difference. Corals just look way, way better. So if you're setting up a nano tank, definitely make sure you get on top of those supplements because it does a huge difference. But that about wraps up this update. There's going to be another one hopefully coming out in about a month because as you'll notice the tank looks a little bit different to what it looks like in the video. But yeah, just because I've added some more rock, more corals, a few other sort of goodies. So yeah, lots of changes coming to this aquarium and I love it. It's a small tank but it's doing amazing, and yeah, I really hope you enjoyed. So if you want to see more saltwater content on this generally freshwater orientated channel, then definitely make sure you let me know. Consider giving this video a big thumbs up and subscribing to the channel. We've been doing really good in terms of growth and I'd love if we could maintain that, and I can see the 1,000 benchmark just very, very shortly. So yeah, just a huge thank you for all the support you've been giving me. But that's it from me. So as always, stay happy, stay safe, stay Aussie Australian. Bodgie out.